Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Today, guys, is going to be a quicker Ethereum stream. Today, I really want to talk about, just Ethereum, right? We've sort of been pigeonholed on Bitcoin a lot on this channel. And, I want to start doing more some altcoin streams in the morning. So that's what we're going to do. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 hour for Ethereum, the daily, a couple different daily charts as we kind of go through here. Obviously, our weekly fractal and the monthly chart, which is getting me really excited for Ethereum because it really does mimic 2017. As much as we don't want to compare it to previous markets, it's not always the best thing that we want to do. It is looking very similar on the longer term time frames. All right, so without further ado, let's jump on into it. First, I did want to mention that the DXY is having a pretty good day today, guys. So that's why we're seeing some relative strength, relative weakness, I should say, in crypto, in the stock market today. The DXY is breaking this resistance. We'll see if this closes up here, but that is the general reason why. And obviously the stock market's taking a little bit of a dip too. It's not just crypto, okay? It's not just crypto. So obviously keep that in mind. Now, if we go on over to the 4 hour time frame, right? The 4 hour time frame, you can see that Ethereum's just kind of making higher lows, guys. I mean, if we look here, look at Ethereum, right? So we have this basic resistance up here, which keeps acting as resistance 3 times, right? So we have 1 touch, we had 2 touches, right? And we had 3 touches, okay? But you can see, and if we zoom out here, we're not really zoomed out. We're looking at the 4 hour time frame. We're also making higher lows, right? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 as of now. So what type of pattern is this? Well, this is a typical ascending triangle pattern. Now, it's not perfect, right? Obviously, we have some wicks below the general trend line there. So a lot of people will say, Jordan, you could probably draw it like this, which is true. And that would give us some more room to run down if that ends up being true. But as of right now, it looks like we were at least trying to bounce off this level here. So this is what makes the most sense to me. Now, typically, this is a bullish pattern, okay? So we'll see if this breaks up. A lot of it's going to depend on what Bitcoin does. As we know, guys, Bitcoin is the leader of the market. If Bitcoin drops, you're going to see Ethereum drop. But I am liking the higher low structure as of now for Ethereum. Now, let's just say that Ethereum does break down, okay? First, I'd be looking at this potential trend line here. If we come straight down here, that would probably put us somewhere around about 28, really around 2,800, 2,790 to be exact. And if this breaks, well, I'd probably look for another move back down to this level where we've came back down to multiple times in the past, 2,740 approximately, where we've came back down about 3 times and have bounced off this general level. That's where I'd look for. Now, I think it's pretty important for us to hold that level. And if we don't, like we've talked about with Bitcoin, there's a possibility of us going slightly lower, right? Because if you really look at what this could be forming an M pattern down to the downside if we break the neckline here at about 2,700. So that's what I'm watching here on the 4 hour time frame. Can we bounce off this general trend line and get back up to this red box of resistance upwards of about 3,100? If not, we'll watch that. Now, if we can bounce here, right? If we can bounce, we know there's some general weakness in the market right now, but as we know, it's crypto, right? That can all change, and we can't always predict the short-term movements. It depends if the DXY wants to start dumping again. If this does, happen to maybe, get back up to the upside, what I'd be looking for is a potential break of this red resistance. If we can break this general red box of resistance, I'd probably look first for a move up to probably about, just looking left. I mean, there's not much resistance here. I'd probably look for a move somewhere up in $3,300 level, where you do have a bunch of different resistance looking left. See resistance all throughout here, previous support level, previous resistance. So that's probably the level I'd look for if we can break, approximately about the $3,200 level in the short term. So this is what I'm watching in the short term. Will this hold? It's going to depend on if Bitcoin holds, all right? So make sure you're watching Bitcoin in the scenario of the 4 hour time frame. But it is the 4 hour time frame. Do we really care so much about the 4 hour time frame on this channel? No, right? We look at it because it's sort of the most exciting thing to look at, right? And watching the weekly time frame is Joe said I'm looking sexy this morning. Thank you, Joe, in the chat. I appreciate it, man. I'm looking very sexy, apparently. Very sexy, Joe. Thank you, Joe. All right, but that's the 4 hour time frame. If we switch on over to the daily chart, we're still in the macro sense. just in a falling wedge, in my opinion, guys. And it's not just on Ethereum, it's on a multitude of different assets. Okay, it's a total market cap, total 2 market cap, Bitcoin, right? And a bunch of different altcoins are also in this pattern as well. So can we drop a little bit lower? Sure. Is that necessarily the end of the world? No, for a couple different reasons, right? I mean, if we do drop a little bit lower here in the daily, I'd probably, if we can't hold our previous lows, right? If we can't hold these previous lows, I'd probably look for a move back and maybe a wick down to our golden pocket, right? Where does that sit? Sits right around 2,500 to about 2,600, right? So there's definitely a possibility if we can't get some momentum to the upside here over the course of the last couple of weeks. But I will continue to state, guys, it is September, right? September's coming to a close. Sometimes these whales might want to hold down the price for the quarterly close, for the monthly close. There's a lot of different things going on at the end of the month here. So we got to continue to watch. It is raining outside. So if you hear some drips, it's because it's raining outside, guys. So keep that in mind. It's actually literally pouring. It's literally a monsoon outside right now. Literally a monsoon. But yeah, so that's what I'm watching for. If for some reason we can get some upwards momentum, obviously this is a bullish pattern. I do expect this to break out at some point. But if you look at where this could come out to, this could potentially come out to the end of October. I mean, it's not necessarily the end of the world if we do go sideways slightly down for the next couple weeks, right? We're going to continue to look at this over time, and there's a couple different things that kind of point to maybe that happening here. Now, switching on over to our next chart, which is the daily chart for Ethereum, just kind of zoomed out, right? I just want to sort of zoom out here. This is, a pretty important range for Ethereum. I mean, there's a lot of different previous resistances here. Okay, we even have some bound here that are trying to flip, into support. Okay, so you can see previous resistance, trying to flip as support. And it's not just the previous resistance trying to flip into support, right? It's sort of the 100-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, right? There's a lot of support in this general area. Now, would I love if Ethereum dropped below the 200-day moving average? No. Am I so concerned about the daily chart for Ethereum? Not really. Ethereum's a little bit more important than the 4-hour chart. I mean, it's 6x the time frame, right? If you could do some math there. But yeah, I'm more worried about the weekly and the monthly that we're going to take a look at next. But this is, I would like to stay above the 200-day moving average. Right now, that sits at about 2,600. Like we just said, though, we could see a potential move below that, right? That wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world for Ethereum if we dipped below it. So we dipped below it here, and we were able to reclaim it, okay? We were dipped below it here actually twice, and we were able to reclaim the 200-day moving average twice. So it's not the end of the world if we do drip below there. Now, I would like to see this general green box of support hold on a weekly time frame, and that's where we're going to sort of look at next. But the general structure is still good with just a previous resistance flipping as support, guys. General resistance flipping as support, okay? Now, flipping on over to our weekly time frame. This is our fractal we've been talking about, right? There's a lot going on with this fractal that has so many similarities to the 2017 fractal, okay? If we zoom in here, I mean, we've been talking about this so much, and we're going to add a little bit onto it with the RSI and the stock RSI levels and see if there's any clues on, maybe if there's any more similarities. But I mean, you can see the general structure. It's sort of similar to the daily chart, okay? Where we have a double top, okay? Double top with obviously a consolidation after the first top where we have a previous peak, okay? A previous peak. And then we came back up, came back down, and now we're sitting right above that previous peak. And I think it's important on a weekly close for us to hold this level on a weekly close. I think it's very important that we hold this on a weekly close. Okay, very, very important. I just turned into a crab there for a second. But can we hold that? Now, we can have a wick below, like we've commonly said multiple times, we can have a wick below this. But if you look, also our 20 and 30 moving averages happen to be right in this level. So not only is our daily moving averages right at this level in the 100 and 200 day, but also our 20 and 30 weekly are also sitting right there. And that typically tends to be our support in a bullish trend. If we go back to 2017, it's the exact same setup, guys. And there's actually two setups here. One that we probably don't want to see, which is more, maybe a little bit more downside, and one that we probably wouldn't like to see either because it's a lot of sideways, but generally speaking, it's the same thing. If we zoom into 2017 here, it's relatively the same thing. Relatively the same thing, right? Double top, everyone probably calling that the bull market's over. Oh, the bull market's over. We had a double top for Ethereum. And then Ethereum just comes in and says, nope. And comes back down, retests, okay, its previous resistance on the consolidation. All right. And then sort of bounces its way back up. Now, what is interesting about this? Well, we continue to hold the 20 and 30 week moving averages, right? We held the 20 week there. We held the 20 week there. We had a wick below it. It's like we said, we can always have wicks below the 20 week moving average. Okay. And we came back up, came back down, and tested again the 20 week moving average for a third time. Holy moly. A lot of lightning going on outside, guys. Jeez. And we sort of rallied off the third touch of the 20 week moving average. Okay. And we had a similar thing down here in 2017, which still could be a possibility, right? This still could be a possibility. I don't want this to necessarily happen, but if we zoom in here to 2017, this time we actually double topped, had a consolidation down here, came back down, tested the 20 week, we tested that previous resistance and flipped it as support, but this time we actually broke the 20 and 30 week moving averages for multiple weeks, and then we got back above it. Could that certainly be a possibility for Ethereum? Yes. We cannot rule out further downside action, guys. You know, as much as we want to be bulls in here, we cannot rule out the further downside action, right? So something's going to give here, I think. Something's going to give. I mean, we look at this time, we literally bounced off the 20 and 30 week moving averages and started slowly crawling back up here. And this time we sort of bounced and then we sort of broke it back to the downside and had a pretty significant drop. After that, we had about a 45% drop after we broke it, and then we sort of rallied. Do I think we're going to have a 45% drop? Absolutely not. I don't think we're going to have a 45% drop. I mean, that would correlate with Ethereum having a price down to about 1,500. I just don't see that happening personally. Now, is it out of the realm of possibility? No, but I just don't see that happening. Now, if we look at the stock RSI, which interesting here is when we started rallying, we were actually relatively bottomed out on the stock RSI. So that's why I think it's possible here for Ethereum that we go sideways for the next couple weeks, guys. I mean, if we look, when Ethereum started rallying here, it was bottomed out on the stock RSI. When Ethereum started rallying here, it wasn't bottomed out, but it was still relatively low, right? It was still relatively low. So you can notice where the stock RSI is now. Do we have to go sideways / slightly down for the next couple weeks? Sure. We definitely could do that. So obviously keep that in mind. That's not out of the realm of possibility that we could go sideways here for the next couple weeks, right? This comes down here, and then we sort of rally back up after the stock RSI bottoms out. That's historically what's happened for Ethereum, at least the last two times. Like I said, we only have two things to look at, but that's what could happen. Now, I know you guys are looking at me like, Jordan, we don't want to go sideways for the next couple weeks. Look, I get it. We're ready for the price to go up. We're just looking at what happened last time and what could correlate to this next move, right? And if you also look at where we kind of consolidated for Ethereum during these previous two moves in 2017, you can see we consolidated in this general range right here. Look at the consolidation in this range on the RSI, guys. Look at the second one in 2017. We consolidated in this general level on the RSI. Where are we consolidating now on the RSI? Well, we're consolidating in that box again. Now, history doesn't have to repeat, but this is all sort of moving us towards that potential move to the upside that we're all waiting for. It's like a spring, right? It's like a spring where we did pretty similar thing last time. Now, we still need the stock RSI to come back down a little bit, in my opinion, on the weekly for us to get some weekly momentum up, which could correlate with, sideways for a little bit for Ethereum, just like we did here in 2017. I mean, we forget that right here, after coming back down and testing our weekly support bands, we actually went sideways for about 2 months. We went sideways for 2 months before we had to move up to the upside. So don't be surprised if we have a bunch of boring price action. You know, it's not the end of the world. I mean, that's literally what we did last cycle. So I wanted to sort of go through the weekly. And then what sort of ties into that, guys, is the monthly time frame. Look at the resemblance of this. This is what gets my Gymborees going, okay?
Strap up, we're going to the moon.
This is what gets my Gymborees sort of moving here. Thank you for the kind words, Jake. I mean, Jake's been here for a long, long freaking time, man. I appreciate you, dude. You're really, really, you know, you've been here literally since I can't even remember. It's been a long freaking time. So thank you for being a really awesome supporter of the channel, Jake. I definitely appreciate it, man. That's awesome, dude. But Ethereum on the monthly chart, this is what gets me really, really excited, guys. And why I'm looking at the monthly chart, I'm like, all right, this makes no sense. This makes no sense for a market cycle peak. We literally had a higher high on the monthly close. And remember when we were talking about this, when it actually happened, historically, that doesn't equal a top, right? That doesn't equal a top when you have a higher high in the monthly close. You know, but you sort of have a lower high on the wicks, but you have a higher high on the close. That doesn't sound like a top to me, right? To me, that seems like just consolidation. You're coming back down a test. Look at the similarity that you had here in 2017. You had a higher high on the wicks, right? This one actually didn't have a wick, but you get the general point. The higher high on the actual price action, but you had a higher high in the close, but a lower high on the actual, you know, where you topped out on the price action. Very, very similar to me. And if you look even more closely, what is the price structure of it? Well, you can see the highs on the monthly right here, guys. Look at the highs on the monthly. Look at where you came back down to test on the monthly close. You guys see anything that's similar here? You came back and closed right at your previous highs on the monthly and confirmed them as support. Okay? You confirm them as support. There's so much similar. Look at this. You guys can see what I mean. You closed, confirmed them as support. What are you doing now? Ding, ding, ding. Chicken wings for dinner, tofu if you're vegan, says Crypto Kirby. Okay? Your previous highs on the monthly, look what you're doing. You're literally about to close September right at those previous highs on the close. And this is why looking at the monthly charts is so important, guys, because it really tells you the whole story of what's going on here. You're just coming back down to retest your previous monthly close highs. That's really all you're doing here. Okay, and we can look at all this intra 4-hour, intra day, even intra week stuff. But when you really look at the macro structure of it all, it's doing the exact same thing in 2017. 2017, you actually had a giant wick here, but it ended up closing right back up. This time, you didn't get as big of a wick, but it looks like, as of right now in September, as long as you close somewhere above 2,800, it looks like that we could just be doing a classic back test. Okay? A classic back test. All right? So that's what I wanted to sort of touch on today, guys, is, you know, we can be so worried about the 1 second chart, the 5 second chart, the 10 second chart, the 1 hour chart, the 4 hour chart. Sometimes we gotta zoom out. And I know we all want Lambos, we all want rainbows and sunshines, we all want unicorns tomorrow. Okay? I want a damn unicorn. I want a pet unicorn. Okay? But we can't always get the pet unicorn when we want the pet unicorn. Sometimes we have to put the pet unicorn to the side, have patience, and wait for the pet unicorn to find us. Okay? The other thing that kind of reaches out to this, and I wanted to quickly touch on the total market cap, guys. Total market cap is also in a falling wedge, just back testing its previous resistance and flipping as support. Okay, and to me, it does not make sense. Now, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it doesn't make sense for the total market cap to top out with a double top. We haven't seen that before, okay, on really any crypto. Okay, we haven't seen that before. Doesn't mean that it can't happen, right? It doesn't mean that couldn't have been the top. But I'm going based off what I've seen in the past, and this does not seem like a top to me. It just seems like a classic consolidation to sort of reset some of these monthly and weekly RSIs and sort of get us ready for the second run. And this is what this really is showing me, guys. And I'm really excited what's going to be coming here in October, November, and December this year. And I really hope you guys are as well. I really hope you guys are as well. Crypto is not always rainbows and sunshine, guys. You got to go through the hard times in order to get through the good times a lot of the time. And yeah, man, I just want to do a quick update on Ethereum today. I want to start doing some more of these altcoin ones in the morning. We spend so much time on Bitcoin on the nightly shows. By the way, guys, if you're new, we go live some 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. Talk so much about Bitcoin. We talk a little bit about Ethereum and Cardano too, but not fully in depth like I like to do normally. So that's really gonna touch it up, guys. I appreciate you guys coming out this morning. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys in tonight's show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are the best. Okay, you guys are the best. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, guys, the DXY and the stock market not looking great today for us. Stock market taking a little bit of a drop here, and the DXY taking a little bit of a pump. So as long as this is going on, we're going to see some short-term volatility, right? We're going to see some short-term volatility. You're going to have trolls in the chat. You're going to have a lot of negativity in the space. But just remember where cryptos came over time and look at it, you know, on the weekly and the monthly scales, and don't be so zoomed in, man. Don't be so zoomed in. All right. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Don't panic, sell your crypto. You're going to see volatility. Always, always, always hit that like button before you go. Catch you guys later. Peace.